Like the dude is literally on a panel watching women twerk.
Okay, what's good? What's good? Welcome to the show. I am your host, Lance Single, and this is the Arguments League Man's Cave, one of the only places on YouTube where men can still be men. What is good with you people? Yo, we got a doozy this evening. A doozy. This is especially for my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters out there. Hebrew Israelites, as in those. First of all, recognize this. Hebrew Israelite is like a covenant name. It doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily the name of a race. If you, I mean, I guess you can say it has become that, but I mean, think about it. Abraham come from a person, a people. Noah comes from a people. Like these people lived in different ages and different times or whatever, but they still represented, a group of people. Like the Israelites come from some people. It wasn't like God made the Israelites and he ain't make nobody else like them. And then he just chose from the seed of Jacob, the seed of Abraham, I would say. And the covenant passed down to Isaac, and from Isaac to Jacob. And the children of Jacob are the receivers of a promise or participants in a covenant. That's my understanding. And Israelites is no different than the Huguenots of France, or the Palatines of Germany, or the Jacobites of Scotland and Ireland. These are names of are covenant names. People, it's almost like saying I'm an Israelite, a son of Jacob, a son of Isaac. But moving on, this right here, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So this story takes place with Tamar. I don't know if you all remember Genesis 38. Tamar is the wife of Judah's son Judah has 3 sons: Onan, and Sheliel, I believe, or Sheliah, something like that. Sheliah or something like that. Something. However, Sheliah doesn't really seem to be important at this moment. I guess some information to come up about him and his descendants later, as such as what I'm about to get off into. So we have Judah. He has 4 sons: Onan, and Sheliah. And it says was wicked. He took first of all, took a Phoenician wife. Her name was Tamar. So it says was a wicked man and the Lord took him. So Judah told Onan, yo brother, and he out of here, and you gotta do the levirate rights, where it's like, if your brother dies and he doesn't have a child to carry over his name, then it's the job, it is the duty of the next brother to impregnate the sister-in-law with a child. That first child belongs to the brother that passed away, so that child will receive all the inheritance of the father of the brother that passed. And then all of the children that comes after that son, the brother get to receive, and he get to leave his inheritance to that child. But Onan, he was like, man, I don't want to do that. I ain't And probably because she was a Phoenician woman. But he didn't want to do that. And so Judah, so when he went to go, basically when he went to go and have a sex with her, he spilled his seed on the floor. He didn't put the seed in her. So God took him. He thought that, God said that was wicked, disobedience. So you got down and you got Onan down. So all that's left is Shaliah, the third son of Judah. So what he did is he told the daughter-in-law Tamar, hey, look, when he gets of age, then you can have him. But as time went on, he said you can have him, and then he said you can just stay in my house as a widow. So as time went on, Shaliah, he came of age. I'm not sure if this is the right name. I'm just going off memory, y'all. Matter of fact, let me bring it up while I'm messing around. I shouldn't even be messing around. It's Genesis 38. And I can read some of it. So, and it came to pass, so this is 38, this is from the Septuagint translation. And it came to pass at that time that Judas went down from his brethren and came as far as to a certain man, Odelim, whose name was Iris. From a certain man of Odelim. So this dude, he went down, ran to this dude named Odelim, this dude named Iris from the land of Odelim. And Judas saw that there was a daughter of a man that was Canaanitish, whose name was Saba, and he took her and went into her. And she conceived and bore a son and called his name So Judah took a wife, a Canaanite woman, as a wife, and her first son name was and she conceived and bore a son again and called his name Unan. And she again bore a son and called his name Selah. These might be different names because this is the Septuagint. And she was in Kasabi when she bore them. And Judas took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar, or Tamar. And the firstborn of Judah, was wicked before the Lord, and God killed him. And Judah said to Unan, go to thy brother's wife and marry her as brother-in-law, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Unan, knowing that the seed should not be his, it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife that he spilled it upon the ground, so that he should not give seed to his brother's wife. And his doing this appeared evil before God, and he slew him also. And Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, sit thou a widow in the house of thy father-in-law until Selah my son be grown. For he said, lest he also die as his brethren. And Tamar departed and sat in the house of her father. So Judah was like, yo, it seemed like you cursed. You already killed. I mean, two of my sons already died while they was married to you. I don't want to basically give you my last son. So basically, the youngest son, Salam, Selom in the Septuagint, he came of age, and Judah didn't give him to her. So check out what she did. And it says, the days were fulfilled, and Saba, the wife of Judah died. And Judah, being comforted, went to them that sheared his sheep, himself and Iris, his shepherd, the Odamite, to Tamar, to Tamna. That's the place, Tamna. And it was told to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth to Tamna to shear his sheep. And having taken off the garment of her widowhood from her, she put on a veil and ornaments on her face, and sat at the gates of Anan, which is in the way of Tamna. For she saw Selim was grown, but he gave her not to him for a wife. And Judah saw her and thought to her to be a harlot. All right, so Judah saw her and thought her to be a harlot. For she covered her face and he knew her not. So she faked like a prostitute, basically. Damn, Judah went to, damn. Okay, and when Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot. For she covered her face and he knew her not. And when he went out his way to her and said to her, let me come into thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what wilt thou give me if thou shouldest come in me? So he like, what's up? And she like, yo, what you gonna do for me? What you mean, what's up? What you gonna do for me? With my, $40 or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, basically, yeah. And he said, I will send thee a kid of the goats from my flock. And she said, well, if thou wilt give me an earnest until thou send it. So she like, give me something until you send the kid goat. And he said, what is the earnest that I shall give thee? And she said, thy ring, thy bracelet, and thy staff in thy hand. And he gave them to her and went into her, and she conceived by him. And she rose and departed and took her veil from off her face and put on the garments of her widowhood. Dang. So Judah bust in his daughter-in-law, right? She faked like she was a prostitute. First of all, the nigga, he went to go hang out with his buddies to shear his goats and shit. And on the way, he picked up a prostitute, which was so happened to be, or actually planned, it was his daughter-in-law. All right. And it says, and Judah sent the kid of the goats by the hand of the shepherd, the Olamite, to receive the pledge from the woman. And he found her not. And he asked the men of the place, where is the harlot who was in Anan by the wayside? And they said, there was no harlot here. And he returned to Judas and said, I have not found her. And the men of the place say, there is no harlot here. And Judas said, let her have them. But let us not be ridiculed. I sent this kid, but thou hast not found her. And it came to pass, this is verse 38-24. And it came to pass after 3 months that it was told to Judas, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, has grievously played the harlot. And behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judas said, burn her out and bring her out and let her be burnt. Dang. So they say, your daughter-in-law was out here being a hoe. And she pregnant. Judas said, bring her out and let her be burnt. And as they were bringing her out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, I am with child by the man whose these things are. And she said, see who this ring, bracelet, and staff. See who is this ring, bracelet, and staff. So, damn. So after Judas said, burn her, she said, hold on. The nigga who got me pregnant, this ring, bracelet, and staff belong to. What was it? Ring, bracelet, and staff. Yep. And Judas knew them. He knew what it was. And Tamar is declared, rather, he said, Tamar is cleared rather than I, for as much I gave her not a Salam, my son, and he knew her not again. Tamar is cleared rather than I, for as much as I gave her not to Salam, my son, and he knew her not again. So he ain't sleep with her no more. After she got pregnant by him, and he cleared her. He like, yo, she more honest than me, or whatever he said. Whose things are? She said, who is the ring base? And Tamar. He said, Tamar is cleared rather than I. So she was being accused of something, and he said, send her out and burn. She was like, nah, the nigga who got me pregnant, these things belong to him. A ring, staff, and bracelet. And then so Judah was like, damn, you know what? She good. It's me. I was the wrong one for not giving her salam. Anyhow, moving forward, it said, and it came to pass when she was in labor that she also had twins in her womb. And it came to pass as she was bringing forth, one thrust forth his hand, and the midwife, having taken hold of it, bound upon hid hand a scarlet thread. Bound upon hid hand a scarlet thread, saying, this one come out first. And when he drew back his hand, then immediately came forth his brother. And she said, why has the barrier been cut through because of thee? And she called his name Pharez. All right, so I guess that's what his name means, to burst forth through or cut through or whatever. And after this came forth his brother, whose hand was the scarlet thread, and she called his name Zerah. So check this out. Judah, the tribe of Judah, now he has 3 sons because the first 2 died. You have Zerah, Pharez, or Pharez is born first, and then it's Zerah, and then it's Salam. So we got 3 heirs of Judah. 3 heirs. Now it's a promise that the Messiah will come through the line of Judah. It's a promise that the Messiah will come through the line of Judah. And we know that Pharez is, or Perez, the Septuagint says Pharez. Other texts I've read says Perez or Perez. All right. So now we have Judah, and we know that his descendants become King David, King Solomon, and Zedekiah, and Jesus, and all of them, right? But what of the twins' lineage? What of their lineage? I literally found information that tells of that lineage. And I found it in a manuscript written in 1924 called Jeremiah, Ireland, the Stone of Scone, and the English Kings. Think about that. Jeremiah, Ireland, the Stone of Scone, and the English Kings. What is the significance of that, and how does that coincide with Judah? Watch this. I'm about to read it from chapter 5. It's called Zargaza. Spain, chapter 5, Zerah. It said, before introducing our heroine, her sister, and their now aged guardian, sole remaining relative, the prophet Jeremiah. Okay, so this is like 580 BC. What happened is Zedekiah, the last king of Judah, right? Of the tribe of Judah, from the line of Pharez. Zedekiah has his sons killed. I'm sorry, not him. He doesn't have his sons killed. Nebuchadnezzar kills Zedekiah's son. Then he puts Zedekiah's eyes out and throws him in jail. That's what happens. Now, I don't know if it's significant to go off into the reasons why. In short, I can say that Zedekiah betrayed Nebuchadnezzar by going to Egypt to help overthrow Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar found out about it, and then that's how Zedekiah was cut off. I mean, the Lord even said, you know what I'm saying, prior to that he was going to be cut off, and he shall no longer be as his signet. All right. So Zedekiah's sons are cut off, so he has no more heirs. In one account I've read through the Mormon book that he had a son named Melechite or something like that survives and end up marrying somebody from the northern kingdom over there. But this is the actual narrative that the Europeans go off of or believe. All right, so after Zedekiah his sons are killed, he had his eyes plucked out and threw in jail. Jeremiah takes the remaining heirs of Zedekiah, his two daughters, and breaks with them and leaves with them. Like, what's gonna happen? If he know about there more, he probably gonna talking about Nebuchadnezzar. He's probably gonna send out for them to be killed. So Nebuchadnezzar, he leaves with them. Let's read what happened. Let's read this. And it goes like this. It says, before introducing our heroine, her sister, and their now aged guardian, the sole remaining relative, prophet Jeremiah, in their new domicile, it would be better, perhaps, in order to enable the reader to follow their fortunes, if we briefly take notice of the conditions of the Iberian Peninsula at the time of their arrival in that country, 585 BC. It should be noted that as the Portuguese state was not founded until long after the Arabic Moorish kingdoms in Spain had fallen into decrepitude, and so made it possible for the Christians to emerge from the fastness of Galatia and the Asturian highlands, into which they had been driven by successful waves of Mohammedan conquest from 711 to about 12 AD. Portugal has neither part nor lot in this matter, and their term Spanish must be taken to include the whole of the Iberian Peninsula. It says Portugal has neither part nor lot in this matter, and the term Spain must be taken to include the whole of the Iberian Peninsula. But we now inflict the reader with any lengthened dissertation on the ancient Israelite settlements in Spain, some of which were founded long anterior, circa 300 years, to any Philistine or Phoenician enterprise in the Western Mediterranean, which would be foreign to our purpose and out of place in this brief narrative. We will therefore confine ourselves to the condensed account of the very earliest of these Israelitish colonies, and the one which gave the name Iberia to the entire region. And here we will remark that it was general principle with all Mohammedan conquerors to extirpate all traces of antiquity in the lands which they subdued, and give them as far as possible an entirely new form and aspect. In other words, to obliterate and destroy every vestige of the Highlander and nobler civilizations which had formerly adorned themselves once flourishing regions, nobler civilizations which had formerly adorned those once flourishing regions. Okay. The Zerites, Iberians, or Malaysians. The Malaysians, or Scoti, as they were afterwards designated in the old Irish annuals, who have figured so largely in Spanish, the British, and British histories since their very commencement, were the first Israelitish colonies to leave the east and settle in the extreme northeast of Spain, where the descendants of Zerah, one of the twin sons of Judah by his daughter-in-law Tamar, Genesis 38, 27 and 30, Chronicles 2 and 4, Matthews 1 and 3, not to be confused with Zorah or Zohar of Numbers 26, 12 and 14, who was of Simeon. This Zerah of the scarlet thread went down in his grandfather's little company of 70 souls to Egypt, Genesis 46 and 12, and probably died there with his brother Pharez and all his brethren, and all the generations before there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph, Exodus 1, 6 through 8. This new king would be Sequinian Ra, and one of his sons, Kamis, or Amos the First, the founder of the 18th dynasty of the old Hamitic pharaohs and kings which drove out Hakus Shasu, or shepherd kings of Egypt. Okay. The descendants of Zerah, knowing all the circumstances related to Genesis 38, 28, and 30, and smarting under what they regarded as a fraud by which they had been deprived of the rights and privileges attaching to the birthright, formed a plan of quitting Egypt altogether, thus cutting themselves off from any portion or inheritance in Israel. This must have been before the cruel bondage referred to in Exodus 1:7 through 14, else the scheme would have been frustrated, finding themselves numerically unequal to any large undertaking. They picked out or elected from the discontented Israelites those who would cast their lot with them in contemplated enterprise. So the sons of Zerah, which is the son of Judah, left. He left before the Egyptian bondage. Yeah, y'all niggas, man. So it's a whole nother, yeah. That's crazy, bro. I don't want to read all of this. There's so much. There's so much information on this shit. There's so much information on this shit, bro. So Judah's son, Zerah, leaves Egypt before the tables turned on him. and he goes to Spain. And there he founds the city Zaragoza, which literally means the city of Zara. Zargaza, like Gaza Strip. That's how it's spelled. Yeah, y'all got some explaining to do. Y'all got some explaining to do, doggy. So Zara, what does he do? He goes to Spain and he founds the city Zaragoza. So we have Israelites from the tribe of Judah in Spain. And not only that, you got Israelites that did not suffer the curses in Egypt. So are they Israelites? Yes, they're Israelites. Because guess where they went to? They also went to places like Troy. They were also the Cretes. Also, they were tribes in Scythia. Man, England. Look, the European nobility that you guys are learning today that were black have coats of arms. And these coats of arms had animals on them, like the lion, which is, of course, the tribe of Judah. And the unicorn, which is who? Ephraim. Let me see if I can share and find. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Had downloaded. There we go. This is the coat of arms of King James the First. And what do you have? You have the lion, as in the Lion of Judah, and the unicorn. And I believe these names of the animals were given when Jacob was giving his blessing and were telling his sons, they're giving a prophecy to his sons. Mm-hmm. Go to it. Heredity. Heredity. What is it called? Let me see. What's that word? Heraldry. Heraldry. Lion heraldry. Okay. It says the lion is a common charge in heraldry. It traditionally symbolizes courage, nobility, royalty, strength, stateliness, and valor. Because historically the lion has been regarded as the king of beasts. The lion also carries Judeo-Christian symbolism. We know that, I don't know why they saying Christian, or I don't know, maybe it'll come. Let's see. The term Judeo-Christian is used to group Christian and Judaism together, either in reference to Christian derivation of Judaism or Christianity's borrowing the Jewish scripture to constitute the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, or due to the parallels of commonalities in Judaism, I don't know, and Christianity. Anyway, the lion also carries a Judean symbolism. The Lion of Judah stands in the coat of arms of Jerusalem. The Lion of Judah is a Jewish national and cultural symbol traditionally regarded as the symbol of the tribe of Judah. The association between the Judites and the lion can be found in the blessings given by Jacob to his fourth son, Judah, in the book of Genesis of the Hebrew Bible. Okay. Similarly looking lions can be found elsewhere, such as the coat of arms of the Swedish royal house of Bijlebo, from there in turn derived into coats of arms in Finland. I bet you these are Israelites too. So God gave a blessing, right? God gave a blessing. Let's not trip. And in that blessing, he said, if you keep my law, if you do all that I say, I shall make you the head and not the tail. With that in mind, you think they came out the gates being the tail? No, of course not. They just seen all these miracles. All them niggas get slayed. All the niggas die for not keeping the law, breaking ritualistic practices and all of this. And you think that the Israelites was not the head first? Of course they was the head first. They was the queens and kings of Europe and the kings and queens of West Africa, North Africa, South Africa, also in Egypt. Yes, in Egypt and Ethiopia and in the Middle East, of course. So they ruled the world. Your ancestors ruled first. Something else happened. Y'all got to change y'all whole little paradigm up. I'm an Israelite, but I'm woke, nigga. I'm not no damn cult victim. Y'all niggas is liars, bro. Like, y'all don't even have all the information. Y'all didn't even consider the other Israelites, the other niggas that's in Europe. So, let me see if I can find more to this story. And Zerah, look, he in the scripture. Or maybe that's not the same Zerah. Mm-hmm. Tamar, and Tamar, his daughter-in-law, bare him Pharez and Zerah. Chronicles. Okay, this is the sons of Zerah right here. Calico. Calico is the dude that ended up going um to Troy, I believe, and establishing Troy. But let's find let's continue. Let's continue. I found some information on it. This is a book called Tamar Tepi, or The Maid of Destiny. And then I think we're going to go to page 38. So, when essentially that whole little paradigm about the Israelites going into slavery and never coming back to Egypt again, I mean, literally, um, Zerah went back to Egypt. Yeah, bro. Yeah, y'all niggas, bro. Let me see if I can find. I was reading somewhere. Okay. Chapter 7, Scotland. No, let's go back to Ireland. Okay. The arrival of the Scepter of Judah in Ireland. It says, we meet the prophet Jeremiah with his great granddaughter, the Princess Royale, or rather Queen of Judah, Tamar Tepi, and his secretary Baruch, and their following, at the port of Baal Boaz, or now Bilboa, near Yom Beriska, or Evil Sea, Bay of Biscay. That's what it's called now. Waiting for the passage to the isles which are beyond the sea. Okay, that's supposed to be in Jeremiah 25 to 22. Whether according to the determinate counsel or foreknowledge of God, he was destined to convey the heiress of Israel's royal line with the scepter of Judah, and looking back to the far off time when the great diaspora of events had prepared an asylum for the weeping prophet and his royal charge, when they were joined when they could join their fellow countrymen in a land secure from all assaults of their enemies. We are lost in wonder at the marvelous provision of the Almighty, who doeth all things well, and cannot avoid the conviction that Jeremiah was acting throughout under the special guidance and protection of him whose judgments are unsearchable, and his ways past finding out. The thing proceeded from the Lord. Okay, so basically, Jeremiah, after Zedekiah is killed, Jeremiah is the one that takes Zedekiah's daughters to Egypt. I think they flee to Egypt. Let me see, is it more information? Okay, let's see. Here we leave the midst of tradition for the more sure ground of established history, and the facts I am about to relate can be verified by reference to ancient Irish, Scottish, and English chronicles, for which I have gathered the following items of interest. In or about the year 583 to 82 BC, some 4 years after the destruction of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, they arrived at the port of the northeast of Ireland, now known as Carrickfergus, Carrickfergus, in a ship belonging to the Iberian Dan. So, in 580, 82, 83 to 82 BC, about 4 years after the destruction of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, a ship landed in Ireland. and it was from the Danite ship. It was a Danite ship. An aged man named Olam Fodia, accompanied by an Egyptian princess of surpassing beauty, dignity, and charm, bearing the name Tamar or Tiatepi, and the former secretary. So Odom, Olam Fodia, accompanied by an Egyptian princess that was fly, and her name was Tamar or Tiatepi, and the secretary, Baruch. One, Simon Baruch. They brought with them a massive, strongly secured, mysterious chest or case, which they regarded with utmost reverence and guarded it with jealousy care. A golden colored flag or banner, having blazoned upon it the device of a red lion and a large rough stone. Ooh, like the red scarlet banner. The scarlet tassel that was tied on the first child that came out on Zerah. So that represents Zerah. So the red lion represents Zerah. Okay. Furnished with letters of recommendation to Ekodai the second, the Danite, Argda, Hermon, or a head king of Ireland. The strangers made their way to Clotaire, afterwards Torah or Tara, the hill of the law, the royal residence at this period. Here, their credentials obtained the wanderers an honorable differential reception at the court of the Irish monarch, to which no doubt the stately beauty of the Egyptian princess is no small degree contributed. This king Ikade, Eokad must have been a good and well-disposed man, for under the influence of Olam Fodia, he purified his court, if not indeed his entire kingdom, from many abuses, abolished the idols and Asheris or carved wooden objects of veneration, and set up a pure monotheistic fourth of worship in the place of the Baalism of his fathers. He also instituted a more regular form of government, proclamated just laws and statutes, fixed and regulated the feasts according to Olam Fodia instructions, and founded schools, thus laying the foundations of the collegiate and advanced educational systems known to have existed in Ireland in the times long anterior to the Christian era. So when Queen Tepi got there with Baruch and Jeremiah, because that's who these people are, the King of Ireland changed up the game. According to this book, changed up the game. Got rid of all the idols, changed up how they worship, changed up the game, changed up the government, and instituted colleges. Here's a poem from, it says this, it says, there can be no doubt that the state of high civilization obtained in Ireland at that period of which I write, and this was material improved and strengthened during the reigns of Eokade, and his immediate successors. A reference to Moore's beauty sonnet. The harp that once through Tara's halls will serve to confirm and illustrate this point. We may naturally and reasonably suppose that Arkada, the Egyptian, the Irish king, readily acquiesced to Olam Fode's sweeping changes in the religion and government of his country, and a personal reformation himself and his subjects were not uninfluenced by thoughts of the beautiful Jewish princess, who is described in very ancient ballads as the daughter of the Pharaohs, with a royal prosperous smile. So the Jewish princess called the daughter of the Pharaohs. So did Jeremiah take the daughters of Zedekiah to Egypt and he adopted them? I mean, because they're called the daughter of the Pharaohs. She's called the daughter of the Pharaohs. But they subscribe to her being a Jewish princess. Now, could it be that the Egyptians at this time were Hebrews, descendants of Joseph, maybe? I don't know. Let's just keep going. All right. With the royal prosperous smile. So the daughters of Pharaoh with the royal prosperous smile. What's going on? What's going on? Something going on with the with the internet. Anyway, okay. Chapter 6, Ireland, Tara. The earliest mention of the British Isles in Western literature is to be found in Herodotus 450 BC, when this falsely so called father of history says, I do not believe there is a large river called the Rhine flowing out of Helvetia towards the north, nor do I believe in the existence of the British islands when they say 10 comes to us. The first definite statement concerning these islands of Aristotle's De Mundo, 4th century BC, beyond the pillars of Hercules, the ocean flows around the earth, and in it are two very large islands called British, one of which is called Al- Albion, and the other Lerny, lying beyond Keltoi. The names Hibernia, Ivernia, uh, Aaron, are all derived from the same source as Iberia, the ancient term employed to designate the Spanish peninsula, which, as explained in the last chapter, is of purely Hebraic origin. So, so first of all, let me see. In 450 BC, Herodias tells about basically the Israelites, the existence of the British Isles. right? But in 583, Jeremiah brings Tia Tepe to Ireland, and she marries a prince there. The prince that she marries is of the line of Judah through the twin that had the scarlet tassel around his wrist, Zara. So even though Zedekiah line is cut off, the last king, his line, his kids is cut off, they're killed. The daughter of Pharez, Judah, or the daughter of Zedekiah, the descendant of Pharez, ends up marrying a descendant of Zara, Ireland, a Irish king that unifies the house of Judah. This is what the British symbol represents: the unification of Jacob, Union Jack, Union Jack. Yeah. So it says the following is taken from one of the best histories of England for middle class schools extent, may be regarded as a specimen of the condensed or potted history of old world peoples, now so much in vogue in a nation having possession located in almost every part of the habitable globe, whose ships of bulrushes, Isaiah 2, 18:2, plow the waves of every sea and ocean accessible to navigation. It says Ireland 15 or 550 AD, no, 550 BC to 1169 AD. About 550 BC, the Celts, son of son of Melda the soldier, and Ermon the plowman, first crossed into Aran, Iberian lands, and set up small kingdoms there by force of arms. Many legends of the struggle between the two races remain, and we know that the Iberian tribes early accepted the Celts' tongue, took Celts chiefs to rule over them, and agreed to pay tribute to the Celtic head king. Most of Leinster and Munster and part of Ulster remained to them, whilst the rest of the island was held by the Celts. Of the old Homeric heathen days of Ireland, with their gods, wizards, charioted heroes, and Amazonian ladies, we have a beautiful story of the Queen Mab and the Colcane of the north, and the warriors of the Red Branch, and the hapless sons of Visnach, and the later tales of the Fenians, the Finns, MacCool, and his hound Bran Khan of the Hundred Fights. This is a lot, y'all. Like, so we have shown in the last chapter, and note that in the appendix on the Israelite settlements in Spain, that these enterprising colonists, having gained the upper hand over the Phoenician and Philistine people in the western coast of Philistine, entered into possession of the Canaanitish territories, and this conquest naturally extended to include the settlements of the depot formed by these adventurous voyages of the Iberian Peninsula and elsewhere, and amongst those overseas possessions thus acquired by the mingled peoples of Western Palestine, Dano-Philistine, as the tribe of Dan and Philistines, and Astro Phoenicians, the Dans of the Mediterranean and Western Europe, and Tuta de Dan of Irish story, we must certainly include the Emerald Isles. So, wow. So you got the tribe of Dan in Europe. You also have a great portion of the tribe of Judah. They are the tribe of Judah. They twins, Zerah in Europe ruling. So this, wherever we see the lion crescent, we can assume that the originators of that crescent or of that tapestry or um, family crest, we can assume that that originates from the tribe of Judah. Yeah, I'm gonna get more off into this later, man. I think this is a dope subject. A lot of Israelites, I have not heard any Israelites bring this part out. They brush over it, but actually getting off into it, you know, because you see that a lot of African Americans, you can tell we are a people that's related, but some of us look different than others. Like you can see, like let me say, like Lauren London's and um let's say like Alicia Keys, or them fair skinned type sisters could have been considered white back in the day and could have been Israelites the entire time. European Israelites from the tribe of Judah, Zara. So now we got a question, or we have to consider who were the Europeans that came from England to America to establish the 13 colonies. Because we know King James, he repping Judah. We know that. And quite possibly, it could be a mixed tribe thing because kings marry queens, princes marry princesses. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you see so-called adopted, maybe Pharaoh's daughter, the Jewish Tia Tepe, marrying the Jewish Tia Tepe, descendant of Zedekiah, descendant of Perez, marries Zara, Judah, descendant. I think his name is Cathelius. And he becomes the descendant or the predator, what do you call it? The predecessor of the Gauls. The Gauls. And, man, it's heavy. It's heavy, y'all. It's heavy. It's heavy because it's connecting, it's an explanation for the blacks that come from Europe to America in the 1800s. It's an explanation. It's an explanation for the Jacobites that is kicked out of Europe. And they kicked out of Europe and they come to America as in servitude. So they either get a choice to stay there, get beheaded, or come to America under servitude and some other places too. But I read from Jacobite's Gleaning, 1775, I believe, or 1745. And it was given all of these different descriptions of all of the Jacobites that was coming over here. And if not more than half of the Jacobites that was coming over here, these mugs wasn't just laborers. They were like seamstress, silversmiths, writers. They were coming over here under servitude. Why? Because they probably was related to or a part of the Israelites that was over there fighting under the Jacobite banner. Relatives of them send them to America. So what you got here is you got in America, you already have who? The tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, and the Northern Kingdom already here in America. They already here. Why? They're here as the Indians. Now, some people said they came over here during the Assyrian Empire. The Mormons, the Book of Mormon, the Book of Moorish men, more men, um, said that they came over here, shortly after the Assyrian, and also the Book of Esdras of the Apocrypha says they came over here after the Assyrian conquered, after the Syrians overthrew them. So they're already here in Ephraim, in America, established here. And I read this actually in a book, actually, not just in the Bible. It's called a book called The Original History of America, with the description of the Aboriginals being Tyrians and Israelites. That's written in 1842 by a dude named George Jones. I read the Indians and the Israelites. I read several different books that actually give some great insight on the matter of the Aboriginals. The northern Americas were inhabited by Israelites. The southern Americas, that's like be south of Mexico, was inhabited by Phoenicians. And we know that the Israelites were marrying Phoenicians from the very beginning. We know this. The relationship between Ahab and the Phoenicians, and the relationship between David and the Phoenicians. And it is said that Phoenicia basically is a vassal of Egypt. And we know the Phoenicians come from Ham. Now there's the land Phoenicia, and there are people that lived in the land that doesn't necessarily, I don't believe, come from Ham, or possibly didn't. But that's the name of the land, and that's these people are called Phoenicians. Even some Israelites are called Phoenicians because of the land, because they lived in the land, or Tyrians. So the Israelites that's coming to America and under the guise in history books as Europeans, these are people of color coming over here. The French Huguenots, I'm gonna show y'all. Like the French Huguenots, they probably was already there with family. You know what I'm saying? The reason that they ended up in France was because when they was kicked out of Spain, they already had family in France to go to. Because of the tribe of Zara, the Zara Judah tribe, however you want to say it. They already had family in Germany. They already had family in the Netherlands. Families was already spread throughout Europe by way of Dan, Zara, and the Northern Kingdom. We was already everywhere. Yeah, so these Indians that ended up like the French Huguenots, they ended up becoming one people. It says that the French didn't see them any different other than being paternally um they was more, what did he say, like the best way I can remember seeing it is he was saying that they were culturally paternally cultural, more culturally paternal. more modern than these people. And he said, let our sons be taken by your daughters, and your daughters our sons, and we become one people. And that was to also strengthen the numbers. So the French and the Indians, the French Huguenots and the Indians became one people. Man, as you read, you will start to see that a lot of these wars are actually Israelites fighting other Israelites. Because like I said, we ruled in the last age. We ruled the earth. We ruled. We took the earth from who? Giants. Yeah, I don't want to say, sound pseudo, but that's what the history is showing. We took the earth from giants. Anyway, man, I enjoyed this. I want to do some more. I wanted to show y'all some of this information. I have lots and lots and lots more information to show you. But I don't have, it's what, 3:50 in the morning. Time for me to get some Z's. But I wanted to touch bases with y'all. I appreciate y'all subscribing. So why wouldn't I put, some content up? And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be rocking out, doing more content, bringing to you, man. I got so much heat. I got so much heat. This right here should change a lot of our understanding about nobility, about the European nobility, and showing how the Israelites don't just come immediately from Israel. We don't just immediately come from Africa. When I show y'all this Scottish Jacobite and this Huguenot hookup, y'all gonna be like, what the? It's like we literally got our identity stolen. I can show you where the French court says that there are no such thing as indigenous white people. The French court says it. But anyway, man, thanks for stopping by. I'm your host, Land Single, and this is the Arguments League Man's Cave.
Like the dude is literally on a panel watching women twerk.